This video was made possible by our generous supporters on Patreon. Check out patreon.com/NWR for all the details.
Years ago, Ori and the Blind Forest was revealed as an Xbox exclusive, with a magnificent first impression buoyed by the moody and beautiful art paired with enjoyable movement exploration. When I purchased an Xbox One 2 years later, it was one of the first games I purchased for the platform, very much living up to its critical acclaim and hype. It's still a shock that this gorgeously animated Metroid-inspired platformer is shedding its exclusivity status to come to Nintendo Switch 4 years after its initial launch. Thankfully, even if it's been years since its debut, the dreamlike presentation, engrossing exploration, and heart-wrenching story hold up wonderfully, making Ori and the Blind Forest one of the sharpest of its kind on Switch. Ori's presentation is its most striking element. The animation and art recall some of the more recent Rayman games, also likely drawing influence from animated films like The Iron Giant, or any number of animated Miyazaki works. The atmosphere is stunning, complemented beautifully by the muted but memorable score. Environmental and oft-wordless storytelling is also on full display, especially in the gut punch that is the game's prologue. You control a guardian spirit named Ori, who winds up becoming orphaned and alone to begin the game in a sequence that is short on words, but high on emotion. It makes for a great setup for a journey where you have to navigate a world that needs restoration, as Ori is dropped off into the decrepit forest, powerless and alone. Taking control of Ori in this vibrant side-scrolling world is a joy. Running and jumping feels and looks gorgeous, and early abilities like a wall jump and a double jump help to make moving around this world just simply fun. While for the most part the art makes platforms clear, every so often it's hard to tell what is and isn't a safe landing spot or where on a cliff you can grip onto. These issues are minor inconveniences at the most, but I ran into them enough, especially on the smaller handheld screen, that it became a recurring problem. Thankfully, the worst that ever happened was I had to attempt to jump again, or respawn shortly before where I was. As I got deeper, this problem also lessened because I just knew what to look out for in the environment. The environments themselves are all lush and expressive, with each area looking very distinct. I regularly would get lost tugging at every nook and cranny, looking for the bountiful secrets. A clear map makes traversal easier and more enjoyable, with upgrades available to reveal more specific details of what is hidden where. In addition to the new abilities found across the world, Ori also earns ability points gained from experience points found through combat and discovery. A rather simple skill tree exists to let you focus on honing offensive, defensive, and movement abilities. It's generally lightweight and not all that deep, but it offers some enjoyable customization of your hero as you go on the journey. Combat is the weakest part of the gameplay by far, as Ori's basic attack involves spamming a ranged orb into nearby foes. The best part about the combat might just be that it's easy to deprioritize because you can just spam it when necessary. Later game upgrades and abilities help add a little bit of nuance to it, but consistently throughout the entire 10-hour adventure or so, the combat was the part of the game I least enjoyed. Some of the battles also got very challenging on the normal difficulty, which previously was the only difficulty when Ori and the Blind Forest first launched. With the Definitive Edition release, multiple difficulty levels were added, including an easy mode, a hard mode, and a masochistic one life mode. Those are all represented in the Switch version and are toggleable during the game, except for the one life mode, you have to do that from the start. The Definitive Edition also added a few new areas and abilities, most notably an improved fast travel system, which honestly I can't imagine ever playing the game without, especially while doing endgame cleanup to try to get to that 100% completion. While I could pick apart some specific nagging problems in Ori and the Blind Forest, whether it's the combat or tiny platforming problems, my lasting memory of this recent replay and my previous Xbox One playthrough a few years ago is just the high moments, the bliss of exploring this world, combined with the deft storytelling and dazzling artwork. This all makes for an enthralling adventure that stands tall as one of the modern classics of the Metroid-esque genre.
This video was made possible by our generous supporters on Patreon. Did you know that Nintendo World Report is funded directly by fans like you? When you support Nintendo World Report on Patreon, you get immediate access to multiple exclusive podcasts every month, exclusive Discord channels, an early look at select content, and more, all for as little as $1 a month. Check out patreon.com/NWR for all the details.